Are you ready to be unleashed and unstoppable?
Are you ready to experience a breakthrough and step into your next level of leadership?
Living a life of power, purpose, and possibility on your own terms, unapologetically.
This podcast is for discovering how to play big, how to be unleashed and unstoppable.
Through wiring inner success at the source as you step into your full potential as a wildly ambitious leader.
We are
Lianne Carter and
Carol Register. We are certified Master Neurocoaches and the founders of Unleashed and Unstoppable You.
We're best known for being confidence-boosting, neurohacking, productivity, and wealth experts.
And for high-achieving leaders, visionaries, and entrepreneurs.
Now let's be unleashed and unstoppable. Hey, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Unleashed Unstoppable podcast. Carol and I are so excited to have you with us today because we want to dive into this concept of the fact that your brain is not trained to be aligned with 90% of where you are going. Let me repeat that. Your brain is not trained to be aligned with 90% of where you are going. And we're looking at the beginning of the new year, right? So it's 2023. We've probably set some goals for the year. So it's really important to acknowledge that as you are setting yourself up for success this year. And really understanding that your brain is actually trained to be aligned with 90% of where you have been. And this is one of the biggest challenges that Carol and I see with our clients is that a lot of times we're building these goals, right? Creating these new goals, new dreams, going to new places. And yet we're operating from where we came from. So why is this important, Carol, to know when we're looking at building out our goals or dreams and these affirmations, these I can statements, these statements of being as we start this new year?
Hey, it's so important what you've said about, how the way our brains operate, because we really, with our neurocoaching, want to help you put your affirmations on steroids, right?
Yes.
And really make them work. And we use a different word inside a different set of words inside of our program because it is really based on a scientific process that helps you elevate quickly. Okay. So we're here to share some of that with you today. And one of the reasons we want to start off with about why affirmations don't work is because, well, they do work, but you're listening to somebody else's voice, right? And, you may align. And so that RAS of yours is going to allow that in. You're like, yeah, I like that. I want to be that. But there is an exciting tip that we can give you today. And that is it gets so much more powerful when you use your own words and your own voice. And that comes from your brain. Right, Alex?
Exactly. And I think I just want to reiterate something that you said there, Carol, is that we often see this, and I know I've been there, and I think, Carol, you've been there too. Once you start working with this concept of creating these daily affirmations or affirmations to be aligned with your goals, what you want to create, we are often using other people's words, right? I mean, if you go on Google and you say, look for, affirmations or I can statements for increased wealth, right? I can statements for increased productivity. I can statements to, I'm trying to think some of the ones that I've often looked up, like how to have a cleaner house and how to be, create strong relationships, right? You go online and you will find a ton of different examples. But as Carol said, those are not your words. And this is where we often find that our clients get frustrated when they do our work and our process because they often will think, well, they don't work. And Carol and I are here today to explain to you why you are finding that your affirmations are not working and how you can really amp up and really bust and create those affirmations on steroids.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's really important for you to understand that we're not talking about surface level work here. There's a lot of mindset work out there, including affirmations that you can wire in. But when you really go to the source of who you are, which we're going to talk about more, aren't we, Alex?
Yeah.
And it's really important for you to know that Your truths are inside of you. The things about you are inside of you. And we give you a really specific process to draw that out so that you're not left with temporary motivation, emotion, feeling good, which is great. We want you to be happy. We want you to feel good, but not temporarily. We want temporary and long-term, right? We want to go to the source where we're really neutralizing and erasing. And Alex and I were just talking about this, weren't we? We were just and those words are really powerful words, because when you neutralize and erase something, you're getting rid of it. And this is what we really want to lean into here. So when you know that your brain wants to keep you safe, you're not always trusting yourself because of that. You run into the resistance. However, you know yourself the best when you lean into your intuition. And it's not about believing it. It's not about seeing it to believe it. It's about being able to believe it to see it, right?
Exactly. Well, exactly. And, just been coaching and supporting, many other entrepreneurs and leaders the last couple of days in one of the communities that I also get to coach inside of. And it's believing it, to see it, to also receive it. And I think something that's really important, as you were talking, Carol, a really common, I think, affirmation that I often see that our community tends to use is, money flows to me in abundance. This one really lands to me. I know it's it's one of my vision primes. And something that I want to point out there is because, that is available and we've heard it.
Yeah.
But if you don't believe it, right? If you have this affirmation every day, you're hearing like, money flows to me in abundance, but you don't actually believe that, you're going to experience this cognitive dissonance. You're just going to experience a block, right? And that's the power of the work that Carol and I do. And Carol said it just before, it's about neutralizing and erasing the actual current belief that you have around wealth, around abundance, around money. And I know, Carol, you've been hosting some master classes and workshops at the moment, diving into this piece, right? Because yes, of course, I'm sure all of us listening to this, we do want money flowing to us in abundance. But if we don't actually believe it, then it's really hard to then receive it. And this is one of the biggest challenges that we see with affirmations, is that you're priming in things that are not in alignment to where your current beliefs are about the things that you want to create. And that's the power of the process that we walk our clients through, helping you, first of all, identify what your current belief system is, then walking you through the step-by-step process to then neutralize and erase it, so that this affirmation of money flows to me in abundance, or is available to me in abundance, you actually believe it and you open up the floodgates, right? And you allow it to come in. But this is what and this is where we notice a lot of burnout being experienced, right? Because you literally are pushing against your current belief system. And that's why, I mean, we've said it multiple times, right, Carol? We cannot outperform our subconscious.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's what I think we see with affirmations. Affirmations is a great example of you trying to outperform your subconscious, trying to priming in something that is not alignment with really what you truly believe, or your current subconscious programming, right? From your past.
And, we take it even further with you when you come in, and we're really going to dive into this on our next episode. So stay tuned. We're going to talk about the belief coming from who you are, right? And so I can't wait for that part. And I know you feel the same way, Alex, because all of this is simple, but it does layer in together, and it is a process. And this is where you can move forward on, as fast as you want to go to the way the brain works. I will say that, because we talk a lot about the fact that a lot of the things we see out there in affirmations were 21 days. The exciting thing is, at 21 days, and we've spoken about this in past episodes, in 21 days, you are building a new neural network. And a neural network gets built up and becomes a neural highway the more you repeat your beliefs, and that's where they become automated, right? But here's what happens at 21 days. What happens is you're building that new habit, that new neural network, but the old neural network that was blocking you or saying, this is not the way we do it, or we can't do it, or you're not enough, or whatever that block happens to be for you. It's side by side at 21 days with that new neural network. So in weeks 4 and 5, your brain's going to be giving you neurochemicals to take you back down the old path, because that's what's familiar. That's what's automated basically into your subconscious. And so your brain wants to protect that. So you have to go beyond 21 days, and we can see this in the brain mapping. This is what we love. And this does have to do with your intuition too, by the way, because neuroscience is not just the brain. The brain is a part of the nervous system. Neuroscience is about the whole nervous system, and it's thoughts plus emotions that equal our beliefs. It's mind and heart that work together, and gut too. And I know we're going to be finding out so much more, right? That we want to be able to take you through a process that's going to be simple. Listen, I know that Alex uses it every day. I use it every day. These tools are long-term. They're for your ongoing up-leveling and success. And that's really important for you to know. So when you're taking an affirmation, come in with us and work. We want to show you that using your own voice and what you want, and really uncovering that and not operating on what's familiar and faulty or what's in your past, but changing it for that full abundant life you actually want, is where it gets really powerful and exciting. And we see the transformations in our own lives and our clients' lives all the time.
And really, when you look at affirmations and the whole goal of affirmations, it is to support you in creating the vision, the goals that you want to achieve.
Yeah.
And something that we don't learn in school is how our brain works and how our brain works against us when it comes to writing these things out. And something that, I think this is a great opportunity, Carol, right now to dive into talking about the reticular activating system, because that is what's extremely powerful. Now, as Carol said, right, 0 to 21 is really, you start to listen to these affirmations. Then around the 20 to 40 day mark, you now have this new neural pathway, this new highway that is being created while the old highway is being torn down. And then around between the 40 to 67 day mark is really that sweet spot. That's when things start to open up, right? Now, a lot of times what we see, because we know you, listener, you're a high achiever, you want results fast, you want it quick. If you're like me, you're like, I wanted this yesterday. And we see it time and time again where it's like, okay, I write off all the affirmations. First of all, there's a lot of misalignment with what somebody wants and what they believe they can have. And then, we have a hard time committing to the process, right? Really committing to that, the sort of magic number of 67. And I know, because I've done a lot of reading on this. Sometimes it could be a little bit more, but anywhere between 40 to 67, oftentimes things do start to open up, because now you've wired in that new neural pathway, and the old neural pathway, right? Again, your brain is not trained to be aligned with 90% of where you're going. So a lot of times, well, I wouldn't say a lot of times, your affirmations are there to where you're going, right? Your brain is trained to be aligned with 90% of where you were. So it's right, neutralizing and erasing the beliefs from where you were and really priming in where you're going. And what happens, which, this can happen sometimes at the beginning, but usually we start to see this as you go through, is that you start to activate your reticular activating system, your RAS. And I heard Tony Robbins refers to this as the gatekeeper.
Yeah.
And it's the gatekeeper, right, that allows or protects you from things that are not in alignment with your subconscious. And so that's why it's powerful, the work that Carol and I do, is that, right? We said this was before, we can't outperform the subconscious. And
Yeah.
90% or more of our daily actions and decisions come from our thoughts and our beliefs are stored in the subconscious. So if you're out of alignment with where you want to go with your affirmations and where you want to have your beliefs, this is what creates the resistance. This is what creates the burnout. This is what creates the exhaustion. And that's
Yeah.
why the simple process
Yeah.
helps you do this with ease, helps you become unstuck, unleashed, and
Just
unstoppable.
unleashed and unstoppable. That's right. And that part is what's exciting. It's the freedom when
Mhm.
you know you have the tools to continue to break through and break free for what you want. And Alex, just back to what you were talking about with the neural networks, right? So, what happens then at 21 days where those neural networks are side by side with each other? And as you go forward to the 40-day mark and beyond that, it's so important to know that that old neural network, that block that was in the way, starts to get weak and shaky. It receives less and less energy, and it starts to fade, right? And that's why if you do something for 21 days and you think, I'm all set, I've done my affirmations for 21 days, I'm good to go now. It's in the weeks after that where that old network is not completely broken away yet, and your brain's going to want to take you back over there to that old network. So, this is where we get so excited with the process that we have. Again, it is so simple that a child can do it, but it's not necessarily easy. And you really do need a mentor to take you through this. Now, your brain's automating all the time, and you can reprogram certain things just from reading on the internet, but it's going to take you forever. And you're going to spend all this time and energy wasted when what you want is available to you. And life is short. Life is short. We don't know the time we have. So if you have something in your heart, a dream in your heart, or you just know that you're blocked, and as high achievers, we run into ourselves all the time, right? Then it's really important for you to get the help you need, whether it's us or somebody else, because, there are other processes. We just know that this one absolutely works. We know it's science-based. We know it's proven. We experience the results of it, and we see it in our clients as well. So that's what's important for you to understand, is that those tools are available for you. And you can take an affirmation and really start to put it to work in a neuroscience based way that is going to powerfully transform your life.
Because, right, when you believe that affirmation, that's really in alignment with your belief system.
Yeah.
From that belief system, right, that affirmation, your dream or vision, you then make decisions. The decisions that you make or not make then impact the actions that you take or do not take. And from those actions, that's going to impact your results. And this is where we see the block, right? And this is where, coming back to kind of about affirmations on steroids, if you are priming in or listening or saying all these affirmations that are not in alignment with what is it you want, where you're going, and not in alignment with your belief system, because we have so many thoughts firing every second in our brain, then you often will find yourself spending more time trying to convince yourself, right? And trying to reframe things so that you can create something, which becomes exhausting because you're not working. Because what's happening is, right, you're trying to work against how your brain works for you. And I know, as a high achiever who's burnt out, Carol knows as a high achiever burnt out, we try to outperform our subconscious, right?
It doesn't work.
We are able to, but it requires pushing, right? Because we do have this ability to push and really strive and just rely on hustle and grit and all of these things. But it ultimately leads to the burnout. What we're saying is we know how to make it so much easier for you so you can stop spinning, so that you can
Get off the
truly,
spin cycle.
yeah, that
Yeah.
hustle bus, right?
Yeah.
And
And
really,
the start stop, right?
yeah, because that is your brain. I'm so glad you said it, Carol. That whole stop and start cycle, right? It's like having your foot on the accelerator and the gas at the same time. That
Yeah.
is your brain keeping you safe because you know you want it. You do all
Yeah.
the affirmations. You're like, okay, I'm working so hard. But yeah, for some reason, I'm just not getting the thing that I want to get. I'm not
Yeah.
achieving what I want. Or you find yourself self-sabotaging your success where you get stuck in this invisible bubble or this, you hit this glass ceiling and you're like,
Yeah.
why can't I break through this? And
Yeah, and that's where I see so much of the mindset work out there. It leaves partial answers
Mhm,
delivered dogmatically as the complete answer. And what we are not talking about here is a simple reframe or shifting of the mindset. That does work. It is a place to start because you're setting an intention,
mhm,
you're making a choice, and then the belief comes in, right? Because you've made this intention. But we're talking about, again, neutralizing and erasing the block, getting rid of it. And that's where I get so excited because we can see in the science that this actually works. And I just want to say, science is energy, right? We're
mhm.
all energetic moving mass. We're spiritual beings, in my opinion. So, um, that also is a part of this. And those answers are within you to bring you forward. You just need the tools to know what's standing in your way and how to neutralize and erase it. Yeah. So
But
I get excited.
so, we're gonna, as we finish up today, just thinking about like what you as a listener can do. And I think the first and foremost is, and we talked about this in our last couple episodes, right? Get clear with what it is that you want, right?
Yeah.
And really ask yourself, okay, what do I get to believe to then create this? And then be curious about
Yeah.
the internal dialogue that you will most likely notice because we know our brains like to criticize and judge, and we have all of right our past playing a role in stopping us creating the thing that we truly want. And just be
Yeah.
curious about that and be aware of that, because there's so much power in also being aware of the thoughts that are standing in your way of creating the thing that you want to create, right?
Yeah.
When you can see and notice right away. Actually, I had one that came up the other day and I was like, what? Right? Like, so I don't know how to, right? Those are really
Yeah.
common ones. I don't know how
Yeah.
to. You're not good enough.
Yeah.
No one will
Well,
ever want you, right? Caroline will have her notebooks, right? You're not as smart as, you can't
yeah.
do it like them. You right? Like the negative self-talk, the negative self-chatter,
Yeah.
which, side note, right? We are 9 times more negative to ourselves than we are to somebody else.
Yeah.
This is what happens. This is what blocks us. This is what keeps us stuck, right? That's the
Yeah.
brake pedal that comes up in our subconscious in the background
Yeah.
playing 90% of the time, that prevents us from truly creating the things that we want to create. So
Yeah.
we want you to be aware of that, right? Like it's
And the
so
gas pedal too, the gas pedal side of it is that you actually, when you do the reprogramming work with the process of putting those affirmations on steroids, working with the way your brain works, that's where you start to accelerate and you really start to move forward and you'll see changes. And this is the exciting part, just what you were speaking about with that brake pedal, Alex, right? Where we're holding ourselves back is now this becomes these new beliefs, these success beliefs, this wealth and productivity and no burnout and leadership, the beautiful things that we speak to you about. These are the things that will now become your new comfort zone. They'll be automated. And now our growth doesn't quit. That would not be good, right? We want to continue growing and continue moving out of our comfort zones. And we have a system for that so that you can get the reward of moving out of your comfort zone. But yeah, we want to neutralize and erase, but then let those new habits get firmly wired in where they're automated, just like tying our shoes. And we don't even have to think about it because we're doing it automatically.
And if you want to look at specifically, because we spoke earlier about like the money stories and money blocks, I mentioned earlier, Carol is in the process of offering some money mindset workshops. I know that around that theme. And so we'll have the link in the show notes for you guys to go and register for that and look at, what are some of the past stories that are keeping you stuck with your wealth and how to be able to break free from some of those and now create these affirmations, right, that are in line with the wealth that you want to create.
That's right. I get so excited about this. I get so excited about seeing this transformational work in you guys and you getting your results. And I know Alex does too, because we're like, did you know what happened to, wasn't that amazing? Yeah. Oh, this is awesome. And, we're really dedicated in here to being in alignment with you, knowing you have the power within, and us walking you through the process to uncover that and move forward in your life. So I can't wait to talk with you next time. What about you, Alex?
Well, we want to thank you again for listening to another episode. Hit subscribe, share greatly, widely with all of your friends and colleagues and leaders. And we will see you on our next episode. Bye, everybody.
Right. Bye.
Thanks for tuning in to another episode of the Unleashed Unstoppable podcast with your hosts, Alexandra Carter and Carol Register.
If you enjoyed this episode and you'd like to help support the podcast, please share it with others, post about it on social media, or leave a rating and review and subscribe.
That's all for this episode, Wildly Ambitious Leaders. See you next week.